Welcome back, Gadgeteers. It's another wonderful day, sort of. At any rate, I, as you can tell, ended up in the hospital again. For those of you who don't know what's going on, to make a long story very short, I have dilated cardiomyopathy. It's a genetic birth defect, and it's progressive disease and gets worse and worse and worse. And now I'm in the hospital again. This is happening more and more frequently. So let's go over what's going on. The last time I updated you, I believe I had my ICD surgery, so I had my new ICD put in. And shortly after that, I was complaining about when I stood up, my blood pressure would go really low and I'd get super dizzy. So they turned a feature on called rate response. If you don't know what an ICD is, it's an internal cardiac device. This one has two primary functions. One, it paces me, and two, if necessary, it'll shock me, which I really don't want to have happen, but it has happened in the past. At any rate, they turned the rate response on, so when I get up, the device would kick my heartbeat up for me and give me a little more energy to help me out. And that particular part of it did work, and it helps out during exercise. But I had some anomalous behavior, like if I rolled over in the bed, it would speed my heart up and then I would get palpitations. So since they've turned that feature on, I started getting more palpitations, and they didn't want to turn it off because they thought the benefits outweighed the risks. And then I started having some much more serious problems. It started, let's see, what's today? 24th, Sunday, so I was intake on Friday. So it started on the 21st, and what happened was I was just sitting in my chair at home, and all of a sudden, bam, my heart felt really strange and I just started passing out. So I had that happen at about 1 in the morning, and then it happened again when I was riding with my aunt and my sister at about 11 in the morning, and the second time was worse than the first time, so it took a while for me to get out of it, but it was very disconcerting, and I knew it was a VTAC. So I transmitted a file from my ICD, but unfortunately the monitoring zone starts monitoring when my heart rate goes above 150, so they had to change that. So I drove to U of M. They changed the monitoring zone. Well, I didn't drive. My son drove. I assure you I didn't drive. And on the way home from the hospital, it happened again. So basically, I started passing out. But this time, I didn't go into a normal rhythm after the fact like I did the other two times. So I was pretty sure I was going to get shocked, and I went into my bedroom quickly, and I used the base station to transmit a file to the hospital so they could take a look at it. I was still having problems, so I used what's called an oximeter. You put it on your finger, and it tells your oxygen and your pulse. My pulse was 144, so I was in VTAC. VTAC is a dangerous rhythm, ventricular tachycardia it's called, and that rhythm can, of course, cause major problems. So I was expecting to get shocked, but somebody at another hospital told me a trick. They said to cough really hard or bear down like you're going to the bathroom. So I did a very hearty couple of coughs, very hearty, you know. And I did it maybe 2 or 3 times, and my heart rate started going down, and I could just feel it. All of a sudden, I felt so good. My heart went into a normal rhythm, and I called the hospital, and they analyzed my file that I transmitted to them, and they said, okay, come into emergency. We're going to program your device to do pacing to get you out of this abnormal rhythm at a lower heart rate, so it would recognize the problem at a lower heart rate. I said, okay. And we drove back up, came into emergency, and I told them I'd been told by a doctor to come in and I had VTAC, and they swarmed me like instantly, and I thought, okay. And they rushed me into a room, and they made sure I was stable and checked everything. So after that, they said, we will be admitting you, and they did admit me, and they were trying to decide whether or not they wanted to give me this medicine called mexilitine. I believe it's spelled MEXILITINE instead of Max. But the medicine is somewhat, they called it the big gun. So I'm on amiodarone, which is the other big gun, and it wasn't working well enough. So this mexilitine is the last, it's the last medicinal therapy that they can give me. After this, it's going to get much more serious, as if it wasn't serious enough. So it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. I mean, with this disease, my heart will just continue to weaken, and it's life. I mean, I'm just going to have to deal with it. So tomorrow, I go in for a surgery. They're going to catheterize my left and right heart chambers and have a look at everything, including the arteries. They don't believe I have a blockage, but they have to rule it out. So they're going to do that. I don't think I have a blockage either, because I've never had cholesterol disease or any issues associated with that. Luckily, because obviously I have other problems with my heart. But anyway, we're going to rule that out. And honestly, if that was what caused the ventricular tachycardia, that's an easy fix, which is, clear the blockage and put a stent in your artery. A stent is basically it's like a screen that pops open, and it keeps that part of your artery open. But I don't believe that's what it is, which means it's the dilated cardiomyopathy that I have causing my heart to weaken at a more than likely an accelerated rate. So what do I have to do? Well, I have to have that process done. Then it more than likely will be too late to go home Monday. So Tuesday, I hope I get to go home. If they feel I'm stable enough, I will. Ironically, I've been working on this video for you guys on the ThinkPad P1, which is a new computer I bought for when I get hospitalized. And I thought I wouldn't need it for many months, if not longer, because I thought my heart was stable, so I had some time. But I did buy it now, and I was working on this video, which I hope I can finish editing. The catheterization they're going to give me requires me to lay flat for 4 hours tomorrow, so I'll probably be too tired. We'll just see how it goes. But I bought it because I expected to be in the hospital, and lo and behold, I am, and I'm on that computer right now. I got the 6-core Xeon processor, and it had 16 gigs of RAM. I put 32 in, and I put a second SSD in. Now, I bought this computer used, believe it or not. The model was $27.99 with 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD. I put in a second 1 terabyte SSD and 32 gigabytes of RAM. And the base price for the unit, I only paid $1,825 versus $2,800. So I'm really happy with it. The thing is really fast. It seems to work really well, and it's more of a workstation, so it definitely does much better than my Yoga 920, which I still love. I'm going to keep it because it's so thin and light. But this particular, the ThinkPad, what an awesome machine. So if you're thinking about it, it's a really nice machine. I'm having a few quirks with the NVIDIA, I believe it's the Q2000 onboard chip. Very minor, not anything I worry about. And I'm going to explain that in the video in the future. So if you ever have a problem where you feel your heart go into an abnormal rhythm and all of a sudden you're lightheaded and dizzy and feel like passing out, cough really hard. If you do not have an ICD, do it. You may save your life. Secondly, if you do have an ICD, internal cardiac device, do it so you don't get shocked by the device, defibrillated. And then, of course, you probably should call 911 or go immediately to emergency and have somebody else drive you, of course. If you don't have an ICD, call 911, get an ambulance right away, because you could go into that abnormal rhythm any second thereafter, and they need to treat you right away. Anyway, I really appreciate your watching. I wasn't feeling all that great, that's why I haven't had a video out for a while. And now I see why. Basically, my heart was acting up, but I'm feeling much better. So hopefully I'll be home and we'll roll out some more videos. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you especially for your support and your kind comments. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time on Fast Gadgets. This video was made possible with support from viewers like you. If you find this video useful, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/FastGadgets.